Hey guys, it's Brandon here, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Today I'm going to be tackling a theory in Destiny. Now, as you guys know from Destiny, the main story wasn't really too much to write home about, but through all the Grimoire cards and research and lore that's behind the scenes, this game is actually quite interesting. So this video is going to be really confusing, so bear with me. I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible, and just keep in mind that this is all speculation and theories that I have by taking from the game itself and the Grimoire cards as my basis for my theories. Okay, so let's start with the meaning of the game, Destiny. Now, it's our destiny to defeat the darkness, correct? Well, in the opening cutscene, you see three astronauts landing on a planet that appears to be Mars. Now, the environment around them changes as they walk, but the three of them still continue towards the same goal. And that goal inevitably is the traveler. Now, this supports the theory that time has reset itself because they keep appearing at the same goal, the same three. Now, it shows that there's different variations, but inevitably they end up at the same goal. Now, another thing that supports this theory is the Stranger. Now, on her Grimoire cards, it states that she too has realized that time repeats itself. She states that she's been in the same spot before. She always stands a certain way. Like, she knows that she's been here before. Now, this is not just a case of deja vu, but I believe that she thinks, she knows, she's witnessed that time resets itself. Now, why does she help you if she knows what inevitably is going to happen? Now, her goals are not understood, and she's not of the light, and she's not of the dark. She seems to not like the Vex, but we don't know what her ultimate goal is. We don't know who she talks to in that cutscene. She could be talking to you for all we know, in the future at some point. Nobody knows, except for her. Now, this theory is interesting because people say that the Stranger can only be seen when you've been exposed to Vex technology. Now, I have two questions about this. One, how come you see her on Earth when you're first revived by your ghost? Like, you haven't seen the Vex at all. You won't see the Vex until Venus. Now, this doesn't make any sense because your guardian sees her on the moon when you're entering the Temple of Crota, before you have even heard of the Vex, and you see her. So, this cancels out that theory unless the Vex were here before we died. Before we were revived by our ghost. This means that the Vex were here during the collapse on Earth, and yet they're nowhere to be found on Earth. So that theory is a little far-fetched. My second question to this is, if she isn't a hallucination from seeing or being exposed to Vex technology, then why would she help you destroy a god to the Vex? Why would she do that? Why would the Vex want this to happen? Maybe it's because they want you to destroy the Blackheart. What if the Blackheart is enslaving the Vex, and by destroying it, you free them? You free them to roam free across the universe. Maybe this is why Atheon exists. Atheon sounds like atheist, which means non-believer. Now, if Atheon doesn't believe in the Black Heart, that means he's against it. He realizes that the Black Heart is enslaving the Vex, and he takes charge. He locks himself in the Vault of Glass, and he tries to find a way to travel throughout time, to get away from the Black Heart's influence. So that's an interesting theory to think about. Now, on the other side of things, if she really is trying to help us, then she's not of the light or the dark, then she's a neutral force. She doesn't want the Vex to be around as much as we do, and yet she possesses a certain kind of power, a power that not even the speaker can understand.
She is powerful, but not invincible.
But that begs the question, whose side is she on? What is she fighting for, and why?
Ah, yes. The Awoken. Out there wavering between the light and the dark. A side should always be taken, little light. Even if it's the wrong side.
Another idea about the stranger is that she too is from the Traveler. Now, the reason why I say this is not only does her weapons seem advanced, but when she teleports, she has this energy field, and it looks a lot like the field around your ghost when you spawn it. So there's some similarities there. Now, if she is a separate entity from the Traveler just as the Speaker is, then that means that she is probably decided to work against the Traveler, and that she's still fighting against the darkness, but she's not fighting for the Traveler either. And so this would be an interesting aspect to show that she is indeed a neutral force. But then that still begs the question, who is she talking to? Who is she taking orders from, and why? Now, back to the theory that maybe the stranger has more involvement with the Vex than we think. However, this idea conflicts with who she is as just being the stranger, not of the light or the dark, or maybe even a bigger step as the Exos, because nobody knows the origin of the Exos. Now, they're robots built for killing, and yet they're organic, just like the Vex, except they don't share a mind. So this states that, or this suggests that the Exos and the Vex are the same thing, but different versions, different timelines, just like the beginning of the game. The three astronauts, different variations, the same end goal. So does that mean that the Exos and the Vex are the same, but in different timelines, different universes, and yet by chance the Vex have found a way to be lost in a different timeline, one where they have to fight themselves, and in this way they can't win. If they kill the Exos, then they kill themselves.
1 trillion timelines, and all at war. Like 1,000 red flowers growing in a black garden.
I'm gonna get a little off track for just a second. So, back to the stranger. She seems to know the outcome of the conflict. She knows that time will reset itself. And so she's inevitably getting you closer to this reset point so that she can do the same thing again. Now, people believe that the agents of the Nine, or the Nine, people believe that the Nine also know this secret. Now, the Nine are thought to have been the first Awoken. They are believed to have some kind of supernatural powers, and that they know more than we could ever imagine. Now, the Nine control a race called the Jovian. Jovian is also a race that is a humanoid race outside of the asteroid belt of the Reef that were thought to have once been humans, and that, like the Awoken, they changed due to being in space. And we see Zur in the tower, Zur, Agent of the Nine. He is a Jovian, and people believe that he does the bidding for the Nine, because it says he's an agent of the Nine, so that would make sense. Now, he sells you exotic weaponry. Now, why would he do this? If he knows the eventual outcome, as does the stranger and the Nine, then they know the inevitable ending of the universe. And so why are they helping us? What is their end goal? Why help us if there's no way to change the future? Now this gets to my final point, and that point is entropy. Now, entropy means chaos, quite simply. However, for life to exist, there has to be entropy. Now, I learned this in chemistry recently, but if you think about it, chaos is the only way for things to exist. It must be a weird thing to think about, but chaos is the reason why the universe exists, why we exist. Without it, there is no life. Now, the darkness, it could be just waves of enemies, or it could be not just a thing, an entity, but inevitability. The darkness is the ending of the universe, the ending of everything. Maybe that's why it's inevitable. The darkness is not a thing, it's the ending of all things that can't be stopped, and that when time ends, it resets itself. And the Vex are just a safety protocol. Their purpose is to make sure that no species in the galaxy becomes too advanced. As soon as a species gets advanced, then they awaken from underground and take over. Maybe this is their purpose. They're the balance in the universe. They're a necessary evil, if you will. They exist because they have to. So maybe the darkness is not actually evil. It's just the balance of the universe. There's good, there's evil. There's the traveler, there's darkness. There's a beginning, there's an end. So maybe the Nine and the Stranger, maybe they all understand this. And they know that no matter what they do, nothing will change. And so their only goal in their existence, their destiny, is to keep us on the right track. On the right track to getting time to reset again, so we could do the same thing over again. Giving us hope that will inevitably be crushed. So maybe their end goal for us, knowing that time will reset, is that they need to outfit us with knowledge and weaponry to fight till the end, and die like heroes. And maybe this way life will have a meaning, not only for us, but for them, because they seem to be trapped in this loop, just like we are, except they're aware of it, and the reason for this, nobody knows. This is just a theory after all. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the Stranger, the Nine, Destiny, the Light and the Dark, what is your guys' take on the whole thing? I believe that Destiny is a game that suits itself, mainly because the Guardians and everybody within the game are following their destiny, because they're doing what they need to do for time to reset, and so they could do it again. Now the main question is, why? Why is time resetting? Well, if it's the end of all things and the end of time, what is resetting it? Why? Is that just what happens when the universe inevitably ends? Resetting it? Nobody knows. So I hope you guys like this theory, and I hope I didn't hurt your brains too much. You guys should write down what you think in the comments. What do you guys think is the purpose of the Stranger and the Nine and the Darkness and the Guardians? Like, what do you guys think, and how all of them relate? So thank you guys so much for watching and taking time to watch this video. I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.
There's so much more, Guardian. I've seen terrible things born out in the darkness. Every moment brings them closer. All ends are beginnings. Our fight is far from over.